Once again, a very good morning. And today, I want to begin with a very quick question, but honest answers only. How many of you live for the weekend? Yes. How many of you have counted down the days to a holiday, not because the destination was spectacular, but because the life you were leaving behind felt like something you needed a break from? How many of you have sat in a beautiful place, a hill station, a beach, someone's wedding in Udaipur, and thought, why can't every day feel like this? And then came back, and within 48 hours, everything was exactly as you left it. The inbox, the arguments, the grind, the Sunday night dread already getting in by Saturday afternoon. So if any of that landed even a little, I would say stay with me. Because today we're not talking about how to plan a better holiday. We are talking about how to build a life you don't need to escape from. Won't it be beautiful? So let's be honest about something that nobody says out loud. When you constantly need to escape your life is trying to tell you something. Not that you're weak, not that you're ungrateful, but that something in your work, your relationships, your daily rhythm, your sense of who you are is out of alignment. See, escaping is not the problem. We all need rest, play, change of scene, and that's healthy. The problem is when escape becomes the only thing keeping you going, when your relationship with your own life is survive the weekday, collapse on the weekend. Think about what we escape into: phones, reels, Netflix at midnight, not because the show is brilliant, but because it's the only hour of the day that belongs completely to you and asks absolutely nothing of you. There's a beautiful and slightly uncomfortable metaphor here. A well lived life doesn't need vacations to feel alive. Let me say that again. A well lived life doesn't need vacations to feel alive. That doesn't mean you stop taking holidays. It means the joy of living isn't only waiting at the destination, it's present, or it can be in the ordinary Tuesday. See, let me tell you about Shalini. She's a marketing executive in Mumbai. On paper, good job, decent pay, respected designation. But in reality, she spends every Sunday evening with a low hum of dread that she's named Sunday Blues and accepted as a permanent feature of adulthood. She scrolls job listings not because she has a plan, but because looking at other options gives her the tiny illusion of control. She takes long lunch breaks not because she's hungry, but because she's rationing her presence at a desk that doesn't feel like hers. Shalini doesn't need a new job. She needs to ask a question she's been avoiding. Does my work feel like mine? Does it connect to something I actually care about? Because meaningful work is not about passion 24 hours a day. It's about knowing why you are there. It's about one part of your role that genuinely lights you up. It's about contribution that feels real. So without that thread, even the best salary likes a golden cage you keep needing holidays from. Okay, let me share about Rekha. She manages a household in Nagpur, three generations under one roof. Every day is a negotiation. between her mother in law's preferences and her children's demands and her husband's expectations. And somewhere at the very bottom of that list, her own needs. She doesn't get to escape. There's no Friday for her. There's no office is closed. The house is always open. The role never clocks out. So she escapes inward. Hours of television, mindless scrolling, not because she's lazy. Anyone who thinks that has never managed a three-generation household for a single day, but because it's the only space that asks nothing. What Rekha is missing is once again not a holiday. It's inner peace, a tiny, consistent piece of a day that is genuinely, non negotiably hers. 15 minutes of quiet, a walk without destination, a cup of chai she drinks sitting down, not standing at the counter while simultaneously doing four other things. You cannot pour from an empty cup, but you also can't fill up if you never stop moving long enough to notice the cup is low. And then there is Akash. He's 38, works hard, provides well, loves his family in the way he was taught to love them by being responsible. But here's the thing about him, he comes home, disappears into his phone within 20 minutes. Not because he's a bad husband or a disengaged father, but because somewhere between the traffic and the targets and the performance reviews, he ran out of himself. And the people at home who love him, who need him present, not just physically nearby, they feel it. His wife had stopped expecting conversations after 9 p.m. His daughter shows him things less because she's learned that his attention has already left the room. Akash is not escaping from his family. He's escaping from the exhaustion of a life that has no breathing room built into it. And the people he loves are absorbing the cost. Healthy relationships don't happen despite of a life. They happen when a life has space for genuine presence. And presence is only possible when you're not running on fumes. So here is the reframe I want to offer you today. See, we have been taught to think of rest as the reward for suffering through the week, holiday as the prize for enduring the ordinary, happiness is something that arrives at the weekend or after the promotion or once things settle down. But what if the ordinary weekday is not the obstacle to a good life? What if it is the life? 5 out of 7 days, roughly 70% of your waking hours. That is what a weekday is. And if 70% of your time feels like something to get through, that is not a schedule problem. That is an alignment problem. So, building a life you don't need to escape from is not dramatic. It doesn't require quitting your job or moving to Pondicherry. It requires three quieter things. One, work that is at least one thread of meaning you can hold on to. Two, relationships where you feel genuinely seen, not just needed. And three, a pocket of inner peace that is yours every single day without negotiation. So, not all three at once, of course, not perfectly, but consciously, intentionally, beginning now. So, I want to give you one question and I want to take it seriously because the honest answer to this question is where change actually begins. So the question is, what part of my life do I most want to stop escaping from? Let me say that again. What part of my life do I most want to stop escaping from? Is it your work? A relationship, your own company, the noise you fill your quiet moments with because sitting with yourself feels uncomfortable? Name it. Don't judge it. Just name it. And then ask, what is one change I begin today? Not next month, not after things settle. Today. That moves me one step closer to a life I want to inhabit, not flee. One step, one change today. Because alignment doesn't arrive in a single transformation, it arrives in the accumulation of small, honest choices made over time. So I want to leave you with this. We spend enormous energy trying to make our escapes better, better holidays, better weekends, better excuses to step away from life we are living. I'm not saying stop escaping. The rest is sacred. Play is necessary. Stillness is not laziness, it is wisdom. But imagine, just imagine, waking up on a Monday and not feeling that familiar pull of thread. Imagine going through your Tuesday, not watching the clock, not bargaining with yourself to make it to Friday. Imagine a life where the ordinary day carries within it's something worth showing up for. That life is not a fantasy, it is built carefully, perfectly, one honest choice at a time. It is Shalini finding the one part of her work that lights her up and letting that dread be enough to begin with. We talked about Rekha putting her name on 15 minutes of every day and refusing to negotiate them away. Or Akash putting the phone down at dinner, not forever, just tonight, and discovering that his daughter has a lot more to say than he realized. Small, but real. And real is where everything begins. So you don't need a better escape. You need a life worth returning to. And that life, the one that feels like home even on a Wednesday morning, is already closer than you think. It's waiting in the next honest choice you make. So your call to action for today is answer the question. What part of my life am I escaping from? What one change will begin today? Not a resolution, a change, specific and small. Choose one weekday, this week to be fully present in. No autopilot, no escape hatch, just you actually living it. Because you deserve a life you don't need a holiday from. So go, build it. So, with that thought, thank you. Thank you, everyone, for joining us today. Thank you.